A month or so ago, I reported on a Washington Post and ABC News poll which showed Trump leading Biden in several areas and gaining support in certain demographics, which George Stephanopoulos, an ABC anchor, ultimately reported on. And at that time, I shared with you what Bill Clinton's campaign consultant and political advisor, Dick Morris, thought about all of this. He basically said that this was the Washington Post's and ABC News' way of telling the DNC they needed to dump Biden and find somebody else to compete against Trump. Well, I think we've got another one of these from another major news outlet, the New York Times. Here's a snapshot from the review of the survey. Trump is ahead in 5 swing states. 5 of the 6 swing states. He's leading Biden in Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. All states Biden won in 2020, allegedly. And Biden only leads Trump by 2% in the final battleground state of Wisconsin. Other than asking participants for whom they would vote, another question they asked was, do you think the United States is on the right track or is it headed in the wrong direction? In all 6 of those battleground states, the vast majority said we're headed in the wrong direction. And the numbers hold true across all demographics of age and gender, ethnicity, etc. The survey showed that most people in each of these states are, quote, almost certain they will participate in the next presidential election. But here's another crazy find in the survey. In a matchup between Joe Biden and Ron DeSantis, DeSantis beats Biden in 4 battleground states and ties him in the other 2. They did another matchup between Trump and Kamala Harris. Trump beats her in all 6 states. Then they inserted RFK Jr. into the mock poll, and the results there are really interesting. RFK, of course, doesn't win any of the 6 states, but Trump ties Biden in Arizona and Pennsylvania. He beats him in Georgia, Michigan, and Nevada, and loses in Wisconsin. That means that for voters in those 6 states, Robert Kennedy Jr. subtracted enough votes from Trump to cause a toss-up in Arizona and Pennsylvania. Now, I'm still going to stick to my historical theory and say that RFK ultimately takes more from Biden in the end. But Trump has an important tactical move to make right here, right now. The people that Trump loses to RFK are the people who long for the good old days of bipartisan politics, which are unfortunately gone. RFK sort of embodies that, even though he's quite liberal. He's just not as liberal as and as wildly progressive as Biden and his ilk. So Trump needs to either hone in on that for when he ultimately attacks him, or you don't attack him at all. Pretend he's just a non-factor. Some commentators have suggested offering him some sort of cabinet position. I think that's a terrible idea, but I do think it's a good idea for Trump to not attack him in the same fashion as he typically does with others. Now, just to support this whole dump Biden theory, David Axelrod, a political commentator for CNN and someone who used to work for President Obama, tweeted the results of this poll, the New York Times poll, and said, "It's very late to change horses. A lot will happen in the next year that no one can predict, and Biden's team says his resolve to run is firm. This," meaning the poll, "will send tremors of doubt through the party, not bedwetting, but legitimate concern. The greatest concern is that his biggest liability is the one thing he can't change. Among all the unpredictables, there is one thing that is sure. The age arrow only points in one direction." Only Biden can make this decision. If he continues to run, he will be the nominee of the Democrat Party. What he needs to decide is whether that is wise, whether it's in his best interest or the country's. And yet another story that confirms this movement to oust Biden, or Trump's legitimate gaining of steam and momentum, is that Trump was invited by Ukrainian President Zelensky to come visit Ukraine. Newsmax reports that Trump's reply was, "I have great respect for President Zelensky, but I think it would be inappropriate to go to Ukraine at this time." So we'll see if Joe steps or stumbles out of the way for someone else to run. But the two questions then become who would replace him and who would have a chance to beat him. It's clearly not Kamala Harris, beat Trump. Gruesome Newsom has the worst record as governor in the entire country, almost as bad as Andrew Cuomo. Will Michelle Obama reveal herself as a trans male and run as Obama 2.0? Well, I'm just kidding. But seriously, who in the world could they run to defeat the evil, Hitlerian, orange, fascistic, dictatorial, genocidal, mean-tweeting, mobster, racist, misogynistic Donald Trump? Getting quality, good-priced meat products is proving to be increasingly difficult these days. With Bidenflation, the prices of everything in the store is going through the roof. When you make fuel more expensive, that costs the farmer more, it costs the shipper more, it costs the grocer more, and it costs you more. That's why you need to check out Good Ranchers. They'll ship directly to your house. They're 100% American beef, chicken, seafood, and pork, all sourced from independent farmers in the US. So check the link in my show notes and use the code RANCHER10, RANCHER10, for 10% off their best-selling Rancher's Classic Box.